Hey there, happy Sunday. Thank you so much for tuning in to Sundays with Trenae. I'm Trenae. I just want to say thank you to everyone who's been watching these episodes and giving great feedback. This week, we're meeting Ayahnna. Ayahnna is a mother of 2 young children, and she's also a wife to an active duty U.S. Army soldier. Her family has had to pick up and move a lot. They lived in Germany, Philadelphia, Florida, Maryland, and the DC metro area. As you can imagine, this was not easy, especially for Ayahnna. She also had to maintain family life as well as her career as a physical therapist assistant. But Ayahnna decided she had to make a change. 4 years ago, she opened up her own business, Divinely Ayahnna. With this multi-faceted business, she can balance life at home as well as use all of her talents. She's a creative graphic designer. She also films hair and makeup tutorials on YouTube. And as a former principal dancer for Grace Dance Theater, which is a Philadelphia dance company, she teaches dance. I had a chance to catch up with her, and we talked about transparency, transitions, and the time she uses to step away. Ayahnna, thank you so much for coming to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm so happy to be here, honestly.
I love it. I love it. Ayahnna, you are so talented. You have so many talents. When I was thinking about my childhood, I was like, wow, I've been exposed to so much, but it was kind of tricky for me to kind of figure out my thing. But for you found your thing in dancing. Tell us about that.
Oh, sure. So, yeah, I think it was more of like a family tradition. Like my mom danced, my aunt danced, my grandmother danced. So many people in my family danced, and I was engulfed in it from an early age. And so, I mean, like 6, 7 years old, seeing Alvinelli and things like that. And I just naturally began to love it. But then as you are trained and taught and you do all these intensives, you start to find your gifts. Depending upon, the teachers and instructors that you have, they will really instill in you the gifts that they see. They'll pull it out of you. And I think that's what gave me the light bulb. Like, girl, you have something. You definitely have, a talent. Ballet was my thing. I was really, really good with ballet and point. That's like, in the point shoes, that was like my thing. And so when I went to New York one summer for 6 weeks, I trained at Dance Theater of Harlem. And that is when the light bulb went off that, okay, I'm gifted, I'm talented. I may not want to do this professionally, but there's something here that I have just, and how people empower you too. The teachers, parents, after every dance show, people are like, you are so good. It's something, it's like a light that would just spark on stage. And this is like the physical therapist side of me coming out. When you watch yourself, then you're like, oh, I see what they say. Very humble person. But later on in life, I was like, oh, okay, I get it. And so it just becomes this love. People, build up your confidence about it. I love it. I love what it does for my soul and my spirit. And so dance has always kind of been like my go-to. It's tradition. I kind of beat myself up that I don't have my children in it as aggressively as I was in it. And that's just because of our lifestyle right now. But we have this thing in our family where you have to dance until you're 12. Like, you can't say no. And that's crazy, right? Especially how we
we all have some like family traditions that,
right? But how we raise our kids a little bit different. We let them use their voices, yada yada. No, you cannot say no. You have to go to dance until 12. And so after 12, then you can figure out if this is for you or not. But for most of my family, we stuck with it throughout, 18, and some of us professionally. So it's literally a part of me. So even when I became a dance educator, I was that teacher, like this is a safe space because you're going to be experimenting and move through movement, and and then it was like a mentorship. I get to mentor young women and young men. It's everything to me.
So you were saying you continue to dance all the way into adulthood, and then you shifted into physical therapy. Can you tell us about that life transition?
For me, dance was a passion and I loved it. And, I realized that I was good at it. But some of my mentors were professional dancers, and I just didn't get the spark as a professional dancer. I was like, professionally, I think there's something else for me. I don't know why I felt that way. There was a spark there doing the art form, but not a spark to do this professionally. I
Why is
just can't.
that? Is it because you started having like real conversations? It's different as a child, and then versus when you're an adult, you have bills and responsibilities.
I think I was a little wise for my age, where I knew that it wasn't going to fulfill a lifestyle that I wanted financially. I really know, like, now it doesn't matter. You do what you love to do. Like, you can make your passion, it can take you places. I didn't know that then. All I knew was doctor, lawyer, teacher, nurse, and that's what's going to give you the lifestyle you want to live. And so that's like full transparency. I think it was more so like knowing, like, okay, they're not living the lifestyle that I would like. They're not, I mean, they're traveling, but it wasn't everything that I wanted. I knew that they weren't having families, because dance was the priority. No one wanted to sit back and be pregnant and not dance for 9 months or what have you. Little things like that I think stood out to me. It wasn't until I got older that now all of these mentors and professionals, they're living it. They have the lifestyle. Like, why nobody told me I could do this? I would have kept dancing. But I think at that time, and I'm talking like 90s, 94, 95, like it wasn't as visible to me, the way that things are visible to us now. Like, we can see all the Leah Janelles and Anthony Burrells, and we see how they're creating this living as professional dancers. I didn't know that you could do that. Like, and so I transitioned into healthcare. I was like, I know I want to get into healthcare. I know this is the air quote way I can make money. And so I collided both anatomy, the body, and healthcare. And that's kind of where I focused on physical therapy. And so in undergrad, you do your undergrad courses and then go into the grad courses. I never got into grad school. But when I was working as a physical therapy tech, which is low of the totem pole, my coworkers who were all physical therapists was like, become an assistant. I'm so, like, stop. You need to stop. It's okay. Become an assistant. And right out of that training, which is a associate degree level. So I kind of went backwards. I went from bachelor to associate. That was right out of graduation, about 65,000 a year. But again, like, I was doing everything that I would have did at the graduate level as a physical therapist. It's just I never got there. You don't do like evaluations. So if you came into my clinic, I can't see you first, but I would see you second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, all the way to the end. That's pretty much the only difference. And so I transitioned because I was like, I know I want to do healthcare. And the best way to collide both worlds would be physical therapy. It was easy for me to understand the anatomy, the body, the way the body moves, the way the body works. I think that's one of the reasons why I was a really great clinician for so long, even as an assistant, because I was trained for all my life in dance. So many different terminology. And so I remember doctors saying, like, I would be at my job at a rehab and doctors would be like, "You're not a therapist?" I'm like, "No, I'm an assistant. Don't come for
But I
me."
also was a trained dancer. There you go.
There you go. There you go.
So, as I
Thank you.
mentioned earlier, your husband is an active member in the US Army, and your family moves a lot. And once again, you are transitioning again into new environments. I mean, how do you adjust to new places and find your community?
Adjusting to new places is challenging. How do I do it? I kind of feel like sometimes I tell myself you have no choice. It's trial and error. Sometimes I choose good schools, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I choose good camps, sometimes I don't. And then right when you find your village, you have to leave. It sucks. It's the hardest thing ever. One thing I've learned is not to limit yourself in finding your village. You get so stuck on who your village was, what that village did for you, that you don't open your heart and mind to the new place and the new village. It's so hard, especially with younger kids, and not having that support system be the same, because everybody's different. That village is going to look different. I mean,
Right.
every geographical location is different. So the way the lifestyle is set up is different. Coming here to Maryland was different. Everybody works for the government. Everybody's driving to work. Who's home? Who's home with me to help me take care of these babies? Not like that, but I'm like, hello, who's going to be the emergency contact if everybody works an hour away? Or, so adapting to all of those things, it's trial and error, a lot of research, using a lot of resources. There's always going to be a Facebook group for the area that we live in. So you can always find good resources out.
Ayanna, in one of your YouTube videos, you posted almost a year ago, this was during COVID, you talk about transparency and you tell us that you had to transition again,
Mhm.
yet again, but this time your health was at stake. What
Yep.
happened there?
I don't know, like, what was happening. And I think this is kind of everyone's feeling with COVID, but there was a huge shift, almost like a unhappiness. It wasn't, it wasn't at home, but it was like something weird is happening. And so I said to my husband, like, because of COVID, we need to make a change. And that's where this move happened. But I started to recognize that what I was feeling was anxiety, the worry. Like, so going back to dance, right? I think dance was therapeutic, and I didn't even know it. I think I danced all of my life and it was healing and it was comforting. And I didn't even realize that maybe I battled with anxiety before, but dance was the medicine for me. And so now that I haven't had dance for, I would say it was like 7 years, my body, my mind, everything is just like revved up, especially with changes, especially with adapting to changes. And I'm like, wait a minute, this isn't me. I'm in much more control now of when changes happen, but I also think it's because of our current placement. I started going to therapy. In therapy, it's more so focused on like finding ways to cope, or finding what those triggers are and then like stopping them before they come. Um, or when I feel them happening, I surrender actually. So I won't go into a panic attack, but I will rest. I will stop. I will shut shop down. Okay. So my graphic design business has its highs and lows because I'm like, So sometimes if I feel a trigger, okay, nope, I'm not doing anything. Let me go lay down. Let me go tell my husband I can't. And I'll bounce back within a day. And it's not that I'm panicking, but let me ride the wave and not force myself through it. And so therapy has been extremely helpful. I actually stopped recently because I felt like I've been just on the up and up. And again, I still have days where I'm like, whoa, but I take a step back.
So tell me a little bit more about how you rest and what would the perfect rest day look like for you? So we talked
Oh
about
my
therapy.
gosh,
What else?
Trenae.
What else is on the menu?
Oh gosh, honestly, therapy's work. I don't find that as rest. Okay, therapy's work. They be talking to me and making me think. Make you think. But rest for me, baby, is a spa day. Like,
Ooh.
it's expensive, but when we can Oh my gosh. I was a different person. I think that's rest for me. It's an hour and a half. You can nap, but then you also there's therapeutic properties into massage. So for me, not and it may not work for another person because some people may have sensory, things where they don't want to be touched, but I find that it really resets me.
Now, despite all of the transitions that you've been through, you are actually working and making money and building
Mhm.
partnerships off of your passions,
Yes.
dancing and filming lifestyle videos, hair and makeup tutorials. Like
Yes.
that, to do what you love every day is honestly like that is a privilege that a lot of us may not know. All of your experiences, and you are now coming back to those passions that you started with. How does that feel?
Full circle. Sometimes I do question, like, am I doing the right thing? But I come back full circle. It takes me back to that first conversation. Like, you're back here. You are again as an artist. Here you are again. I try to explain to people so much. Like, no, what I'm doing is art. Like, I'm expressing myself. I am sharing. I am being transparent. Like that is what I learned in dance. And so it may look different and I may not quite be 100% there on how I'm going to share this with you all to my community, but I'm telling you, it really is the same. So to me, it's full circle. I'm like, I'm back at square one. I'm back at dance. I like that. It's back to the passion. The passion is it, y'all. The passion is it. Make money off your passion, okay? Thank you for that, Trenae. You need to quote yourself on that one.
Oh. Ayanna, thank you so much for being on the show today.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Well, for Ayanna, it's all about her spa days. Try it this week. It might make a difference. Well, that's all the time we have for this week's episode of Sundays with Trenae. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this episode, give it a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and leave a comment too. We'll catch up next Sunday. I'm Trenae. Remember, love yourself and love your community. Bye.